Hi there, welcome to the Sebastian Rogers case. As you know, in recent time, I did do some coverage in regards to the photo which captured an individual that looked like Sebastian Rogers. I wanted to add on some additional points that I did miss out back then and bring in a bit more common sense because maybe there's other humans out there that may lack it and some people jump the gun and it kind of spirals out of control, right? So you need a little bit of control and order. That's why I'm here today. And in addition to all that, the talk about the CCTV footage, how that's come about, supposedly debunked previously, but it's heated up again, and some people are very adamant that there is something going on and it's to do with people and Sebastian at the house or nearby. Well, we'll take a look at that later. There was a comment recently where someone was asking me, have I seen it? And I had a quick glimpse, okay? Am I gonna show the footage today and get into it, sink my teeth in? No, because avoid conflict, okay? Because I've noticed a pattern within the Sebastian Rogers case. I can highlight that later, okay? So make sure not to go anywhere. I think there will be another video coming out later, more interesting one to be honest, with a case I'm more familiar with, in case you're wondering. That'll still be coming out later. But I just wanted to add these thoughts on because I forgot to mention them in the previous video. So first and foremost, with that photo which captured a lookalike, let's just put it that way for now, because it's not like definitive, the conclusion. I believe it's genuine. I saw some comment recently, but it wasn't official, I don't think, mentioning how that AI detector was false or inaccurate and that it's actually a real photo. Wouldn't surprise me if it's a real photo because it looks mostly natural. I don't really see any imperfections. There was a viewer on my channel recently that said they've been on the receiving end of like deep fakes and AI enhanced stuff in inappropriate ways, have been on the receiving end of it, so they know what it can be like. And at times something can look so natural when it's not. I guess it depends who's behind it, right? If it's professional or an amateur individual. Within true crime, just in general, within missing people cases, because that's what Sebastian Rogers is classified as, missing people cases. Have I ever heard of a reported sighting which was actually manipulated and enhanced through AI technology and deepfakes? No, never heard of before. Never been aware of before. So that might highlight something, I guess. Would there be a gain from doing it? Attention, this and that. But to be honest, you could probably fake it in other ways without going out of your way to cause such confusion, right? There are more low effort ways of causing disruption whilst gaining in the process in manipulative ways, right? We've seen it in the past, right? Doesn't take much effort. Depends, who's around and who's listening in. If there's vulnerable people, they're probably more likely to believe in it. And then the web of lies will build and build and build and get out of hand, right? So that can be a problem. But once again, I still think that the photo is natural. But what about the location? Well, another person left a comment on my channel recently saying Mob Crew Chris actually found the location, some visitor centre. It's a different place. I can't remember the name, but you can always look back at my previous video. We don't need to check it out because it doesn't really do much at this moment in time, because if it really was Sebastian Rogers, probably long gone by now. And if it was in a situation of a kidnapping, let's put it just put it like that, you got the kidnappers, the ones responsible for taking Sebastian Rogers. Well, obviously they'll probably be monitoring, checking online from time to time if that was the situation with Sebastian. I'm not saying it is, but if it was, and there were people around him that took him in the first place, would they honestly be taking a missing person to some kind of nature tourist attraction walk where there'll be visitors and other people about, such as that female that took the photo of an individual that looked like Sebastian Rogers in their mindset at the time? Are they honestly going to parade Sebastian out in public if he is a missing person? Because it'll be somewhat well known in the news and in certain areas, right? You'd think you'd be laying low. Unless it's a situation where a person has gone missing themselves and ran away, which seems unlikely in this case. But in general, if a person ran away themselves, they may not always be thinking of, I need to hide, I need to lay low. unless they're trying to not be found, right? If it was a younger individual, because they can run away at times, or they get distracted, they're not fully thinking because they're not fully developed as a human with their mind and stuff because they're still of a young age, but they do stray away. They could be out in the public, in the open, playing about, walking around aimlessly. Yeah, they'll stand out more and people may recognise them, but they're just doing their own thing. But if you've got, and you can't really call it guardians, but the kidnappers in a situation like that, they've probably got a responsibility in which they don't want to let that person out of their sight nor put them out in public as a display, because then it will link back to them and incriminate themselves. And it's like a magnet which attracts attention, so it's best lay low. But at the end of the day, if it really is a kidnapping situation, how long does it go on for? And what's the whole point of it? There's not been like a ransom money situation. Just seems a bit pointless, doesn't it? Now, the Sebastian Rogers case, other reported sightings in the past, but there were like false ones, dead ends. So if you exclude this situation in recent time with that photo being captured, okay, Sebastian, missing individual, but are they truly alive? Is there evidence to say that Sebastian is still alive, right? Because this could be another case, obviously stretched out much longer in terms of that anticipation and hope that the person is still alive. In other cases previously, that hope may have run out quicker, but it does come down to evidence found along the way. If there's really no evidence at all and not many leads, it's quite a mystery, right? And with that mystery, it's very open and open to interpretation and open to hope that the person is still okay and alive. If it's definitive as to where the person was last seen, such as in an environment where it's hard to survive, like a desert, well, you hope will drop very quickly. That's like with the Kenny Veach case. Fully grown individual, a male, but nevertheless in a harsh condition environment. In terms of Sebastian Rogers' case, I believe at his house, in his home, or nearby at the time of the disappearance. Was it 26th of February 2024 or so? And I think that's where it links on to the CCTV footage with the disappearance of Sebastian and how people are kind of pushing it in a certain direction. So let's talk about that now as we transition on over, okay? So CCTV footage, as for trying to get a hold of it, I don't know how people get a hold of it in the first place, okay? Yeah, videos available on YouTube, but tend to have an overlay or people narrating over it. The true original raw format footage, where would one get it from? Facebook or elsewhere? Now, who is the catalyst behind that footage? Personally, I'm not quite sure. I guess the ones in ownership of that CCTV footage, right? But who's the one that was the catalyst in highlighting or seeing something which is suspicious, or suggesting that that is Sebastian Rogers over there in the distance, the front or back porch, and this movement, and supposedly there's hand movement, and oh, there's Sebastian walking about, and there's three other people or something trying to take him and pick him up or something and slap him or something. What? Well, the original person that noticed movement, human movement or human-like movement, supposedly is a certain individual. Now, I don't really want to mention their name because, to be honest, I think it will cause conflict, okay? So, and as well, if you was to like look at footage and analyze it and you don't credit the original person who noticed it, that will only cause them to get triggered, or audience members elsewhere to get triggered, and then it leads to an attack. You know how petty humans can be. But then on top of crediting and going all in on it, with friction from the past, that will only bring it back again. So all I'll very briefly explain it, and the people that do regularly watch, you will know. As for the other people that don't know, natural selection. Okay, simple as. So it's a person that giggles from the Dylan Rounds case. One surrounded themselves round salty pancakes, ex-criminal, labelled people as traffickers and all kinds of misinformation, and harmed the Dylan Rounds case. enabled and supported it, changed their life around afterwards, being friendly, supposedly, when they choose to be, maintaining and demanding focus on their own videos, but messing about dilly-dallying around elsewhere on other people's channels when there's a serious matter at hand. Yeah, kind of like double standards, hypocrisy. I think you'll be aware of who I'm referring to, okay? So this is what I mean. Humans move on to other cases. It happens. Do I want to move on to other cases where there's humans from the past who have gone in a certain direction? I wouldn't like that, to be honest, right? If it was already problematic to begin with, you don't want to continue that. I mean, the past is different because you didn't put yourself there when there was trouble. You were already there, and then trouble followed afterwards when other humans started messing about and showing some kind of a spasmodity within them, right? So different situations. If you're intentionally moving on to another area, a topic, a theme, a case, and you know there are undesirable humans over that way, well, you're putting yourself in the firing line. You're not doing yourself any favors, right? I mean, we've seen it in the past where there's tension with one another and one of the individuals moves on to a different case and somebody else moves in the same direction, and then there's like, oh, look, the sheep are following, oh, and it causes its own trouble. Personally, there are a range of different cases out there, and this is just from my point of view and opinion, just wanted to add in. You can get a lot of popular cases out there, but I don't always find them interesting, to be honest. Some of the semi-popular and unheard of ones, maybe I'm more interested in. But when it comes to footage, nevertheless, where edits are needed or there's a form of analysis, one can work with material, well, I've done that extensively. So regardless of the case or situation, if it's just all about focusing in on an analysis regarding some material or photo, I can do that. I have done that, and it was done in recent time. This CCTV footage, the other reason why I wouldn't go into covering it besides conflict is more so the quality, okay? The quality of that CCTV footage, granted it's at night time, I believe, because it's dark. Ooh, wow, big surprise. But it's terrible, the quality. I think it was enhanced, or was it like thermal or heat imagery used to highlight different colours in the distance? Or was it truly heat, or was it just enhanced so it was like white orbs and objects moving about in the distance? One or the other. My question is, despite the quality being terrible and hard to see, being honest, right, because top right corner, why is there no like night vision or the thermal imagery? Why is there none of that? I mean, when it came to that CCTV footage of the Las Vegas store Enchanted Forest break-in of 2018 in Las Vegas, which is a store run by Debbie Veach, the sister to Kenny Veach, missing person, and it just so happened that in 2018 a person breaking into that store looked like Kenny Veach. The quality was reasonable, not the best for true identification, but somewhat reasonable, right? So you can have decent footage there, then why can't you have it at a homeowner's house or in the neighbourhood? Why is it not night vision? Unless I'm missing a point somewhere, it just seems a bit silly as for the technology and the surveillance, right? The whole point of having surveillance, which can run all day and through morning to night, is that it can capture in the light, but it can also capture in the dark. If it doesn't have night vision, it's pretty much pointless, because if it does get pitch black for whatever reason, it's not going to really detect anything. As I said, unless I'm missing a point, maybe it's just the CCTV footage is just that bad in quality, right? But for me to be analysing that as to the movement in the distance, it's not clear enough, being honest. I think some people may grasp onto things and hope it's something when it's not, maybe because they're just over hopeful, maybe a little bit delusional or something else. But this is where it gets onto the pattern that I've noticed, because it's kind of like the Dylan Rounds case. Some people see something, other people don't. Some people are pushing in an idea, possible an agenda, the others don't believe in it and criticise them. Back, forth, ping pong, just like the Sebastian Rogers case. As serious as the case is, the people in the community, there's always problems there. And Just quick observations on the spot. It only takes me 0.5 seconds to pick up on things, as I've clearly said on my channel and outlined. Human behaviour. For example, a channel, take in mind, this is one other thing I want to highlight. All these people I've never heard of before. All these channels, never heard of before. And I've been on YouTube for quite some time, right? I've got my own channel, somewhat established, but I've never heard of all these people before. So that says something, doesn't it? But nevertheless, as an example, you got a channel called Michelle After Dark, some UK channel, okay, based in UK but covers US, United States cases, okay. True crime, mainly, from the looks of it, and missing people, right. Their community, or certain people in the community, were commenting on that CCTV footage from elsewhere, where the people pushing a certain agenda, how others label it, right, as ridiculous and silly and making a mockery of the case situation. And where that's being directed towards is another channel called J for Justice, I think. J for Justice. Never heard of them before, okay? But they had a video recently of looking at the CCTV footage, unaware of who it came from, or at least the arrows and the point that was being put across by it was a situation of Sebastian Rogers being kidnapped on the spot through that CCTV footage. When it became known of who was responsible for telling that story and, you know, highlighting as to what was going on, the giggler, J for Justice, still going on about it and looking at it, playing it back forth, highlighting it, drawing little arrows, fancy stuff, whatever. But I think no matter how much you enhance it, it's not going to get any clearer, is it? So it's hard to work with. Everyone sees different things, right? Could be an opinion, could be a form of perception. And with that, with the differing of opinions, there can come disagreements, and then that can lead to tension, then that can lead to conflict, then that can lead to drama, then it can lead to people snapping or getting nasty. Typical, isn't it? Repetitive, endless cycle within humans, no matter where you are in this world, in life, online, doesn't matter. The community, the topic, it follows the theme, okay? So, back and forth, back and forth. Can I understand it from both sides? Yeah. I'll highlight it now. So, the ones that truly and genuinely believe that they see something in that CCTV footage where it links to Sebastian and his disappearance, such as a kidnapping situation, if that really was the case. You got some material, you're working with it. Is that material strong enough to put your point across? It might be if you see something very clear which no one else does. Then trying to convince everyone else around you what you see can be a difficult job. You'll always come across people that will agree with you or see things the same way, but you'll always get a little bit of biasness as well if there's pre-existing people that may follow your channel or like you as a person, maybe more likely willing to listen and see things. There can be some along the way that don't see it, don't agree, but they are fairly neutral, not hostile. And some may even turn around, change their mind, and then agree and believe in you with what you see and what you point out and claim. And in a situation like this, a lesser, smaller channel noticing something being the catalyst, then a bigger channel, J for Justice being the platform, the voice to elevate it higher into public consciousness and more people hear about it. If it's spreading a message, but a false message, a false lead, that can lead to a lot of confusion and disruption down the line. Now, in a situation here, that it was already debunked previously, I could understand a situation of resistance, okay? If there was no debunking and it was just simple disagreements, it's not necessary to be toxic or share the negativity there. Disagree, fine. No need to attack the other person if they see something. But if it's on a situation, and this is the basis that it supposedly is, that it has already been debunked, that CCTV footage, that in the distance or across over that way in the footage, that it's trees, and supposedly the trees and vegetation leaves remain there all the time and they don't drop off or anything. So, trees in the distance, and as you know, the way they can blow in the wind, the branches, the leaves, whether it be through light, shadows casted, obstructing depending from what angle the moon or so that it's brushing past, can cause a bit of a flicker effect. Or if you had, more so commonly, a tree, a bush, and then behind it was a street lamp, and because of how it blows, it kind of obscures the light, but with the gaps in between and the branches moving up and down, here and there you see the light through, but because it's on off, it creates like a flicker effect. And if you got a range of trees or a wall of trees and there's a light source somewhere, it can cause a bit of an illusion, especially from a distance, and if the bit of, it's a bit obscure, the quality from the camera as well, that idea of an illusion. And previously in the past, kind of come across that with the Kenny Veach case, where you got a hole, not quite like that, but a hole in the wall. You got some cobwebs just in front, and situated in the middle of the cobwebs, you got some bits of vegetation, dirt, dust, which is collected, okay, stuck in the web. And then a person walks on in, gets on their knees to look in that shallow cave, to look at that back-facing rock wall where the hole is. And as they drop down, like a lift mechanism, as they go down, the other thing goes up. The camera's aligned with the hole, which has the obstruction in front of the hole. But because of the lack of autofocus from the camera, that depth of field isn't quite there, creating an illusion in which it looks like something is obstructing the hole from behind, like something was looking through. But in actual fact, it was in front of the hole, which caused the obstruction. So it wasn't a reptilian eye, it was just some vegetation and dust collected in the cobweb. Now, I got it from both sides, right? Because I was the first one on YouTube, at least, to do an analysis video. Some other people saw it themselves early on, but I was the first to do a video analysing it. And with what I talked about and covered came resistance. Not everyone saw it the same way in the footage. Some people said I'm crazy. Some people said it's BS, and I got attacked for it, okay? Criticism, negativity, toxicity. Very unnecessary. If people see it differently, or if people know it's not something, then just explain it in a formal or semi-formal, neutral way. There's no need to get aggressive or lose control. But, humans, as they can be at times, that's what I saw, the dark side of humans. Now, fast forward onwards, when I did see it a different way, and I actually backed it up with some psychological reasoning, which 99, if not 100% of humans in the past never did. They just simply said, no, it's not this, it's not that, it's this, it's that, without backing it up or without a formal, a formal explanation. I did in the end. So I went from one side to the other because I learned as I went along and saw it from different perspectives. A true, definitive, natural transformation mentally and in one's presence as well, which most humans can't do. Most of the time they fail, but I was able to. But with that came a completely different wave of resistance, where the ones that did agree originally now are kind of in disbelief with what I'm claiming or pointing out. The ones that were claiming it was natural all along, now, well, they've just disappeared, scuttled away like little cowards. Typical there, mortals. But because of changing opinion, some people thought a U-turn because I've been threatened, I've been silenced, I've been forced to change my mind. Wasn't the case, but, hysteria, people losing their mind, impetuous, lacking reasoning ability, different perspectives. They didn't change, they didn't expand, they didn't adapt or evolve. So they were still stuck on that mystery and wanted to hold on to it so it would last. But because I debunked it, they didn't like that, so they turned a bit nasty and dark. So that's what happened there, right? So in this situation, at this moment in time with Sebastian Rogers, some people believe they see something in the CCTV footage which links to Sebastian going missing, okay? But then there's a wave of people that have debunked that footage as it's trees and leaves in the background and it's not humans, it's not anyone, it's nothing to do with that. Those that claim it's humans, either they're trying to cause disruption in the case, or they just genuinely believe it's something when it's not, and they can't quite see it yet. So those that have debunked it are frustrated by the ones pushing by it's something when it's not. That frustration of, come on, rein it in now. You're not doing yourself any favours. You're harming the case. And then the ones that genuinely do see something in their mind passionate about it see this resistance as if they're trying to silence you, that they're in on it in the case to shut you down and, you know, responsible for Sebastian's disappearance. Back, forth, complete mess, complete shit show. Okay, simple as. I said, I don't know how many perspectives I've seen it from when it comes to different situations, but there are so many, you know, encounters and even moments where I don't even have to experience it for myself, yet I just know and I just see it from all the different angles. It's weird. I can't really put into words, but it's happened with time. Obviously, being on YouTube and covering different cases and communities has obviously helped with what I've seen and witnessed, but you know, you don't have to go through 20, 50 years of experience to know this or that. I think the common sense can go a long way and can carry you and carry a situation and a conversation and a discussion. So where am I at with the Sebastian Rogers case then? Well, being honest, I've not followed it much at all, right? I'm just using common sense at this moment in time because I think it's needed. And I had a look at the odd bit of material here and there. One's clear, but not definitively concluded. The other one is very unclear and it's not really led to much since. So that's pretty much it. Expect a video for later to do with Kenny Veach. Be on the lookout for it. But that's it for now. Thanks for watching. Goodbye for now.